Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, DJ Adam Cruz, and I have my fantastic co-host here,
Eddie Nicholas. What up, beautiful people? Welcome to 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sedan. We are so glad that you came to join us today. Adam, what's going on in the wonderful world of music and news?
I'm usually so excited to come and join you, but today I'm extra excited because there's a lot of news. But first, let us let our listeners and our viewers know what time it is. The Freedom Radio Hour is here, not only giving you fantastic music tonight, but we're also here to be your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. Tonight, we are talking about leaks and Spotify and the three major labels and all the drama that's occurring. All right, we have to go back a little bit in time. Sort of in the early part of the year and last year, you have the biggest streaming service, Spotify, had been basically making deals with the three major labels. The three major labels are Sony, Warner Music, and UMG. That's Universal Music Group. So those three are basically like the three powerhouses. And on this show, we've been talking at length about what happens when you consolidate power. Okay, so what ended up coming up in this time of year is yet another leak of what's been going on. You see, we've covered before that Sony has had a very special relationship with Spotify because they got not only a great deal, several millions in advances, but they also are entitled to revenue sharing. That means the more that Spotify makes, the more that Sony makes. Not only that, Spotify gave them over $9 million worth of advertising space on the Spotify service. So Sony could technically post anything that they wanted or flood any information through their advertising platform. Sony made a side business out of it and have sold that. Now that's a nice side advertising business that they've started for themselves. When we talked about this, we talked about the biggest problem, which was that pool of money that they're making from Spotify, they did not put into the royalty-bearing system that pays out the artists that helped them build the company in the first place. So the bombshell this time around is that the contracts have been leaked to let you know that Spotify not only pays the advance to these three major labels, not only do they have that per stream rate for the royalties, not only do they get revenue sharing, but they own equity in the company. So the three of them they own about 20% of Spotify. The other thing that's come out is that they paid out in the first 3 months of the quarter of this year, they paid those three labels $144 million on top of the royalty rates that they paid. Let me say that again. They're paying that because it's called minimum guarantee. What is that? A minimum guarantee is in a contract that says no matter what, through our various revenue streams, you, Sony, you, Warner, you, UMG, are entitled to our money. So whether Spotify crashes tomorrow, they would still be in debt to these labels because of the arrangement that they have through minimum guarantees. Okay? So why does that matter to us? Because that $144 million, where do you think it ought to go?
Right now, I'm sitting up here perplexed at all this information that you just shared. So I'm aghast at what I just heard. You know, it sounds like where they broke up Bell Telephone and all of those. See?
It does. It feels so convoluted and crazy. But basically, what am I really saying here? I'm saying that not only the streaming service has you would think they have a regular agreement with the labels. Every time a song gets played, you get a certain fraction of a dollar. The more songs that get played or streamed, the more you make, right? But now what we're saying is that the reports have come out to let you know that these companies, not only are they making above and beyond that, now they're basically just for the first 3 months of the year have made $144 million on top of the agreement because of these minimum guarantees.
Already what the companies have to pay then.
Yes.
Okay,
so now it comes, what do you do with the artists? The artists, of course, are aware of this. This has been happening over time. There are even lawsuits to make sure that these issues are addressed. So what these labels had to do, some had to confirm that they have a policy in place to make sure that the income that comes in that's not per stream based goes back into the royalty-bearing system back to the artist. There's a name for that policy. It's called the breakage policy.
Okay.
Very interesting. While Sony was quick to confirm that they had long been doing this and giving this unallocated income back to the artist, Warner Music and UMG just enacted this last year. So what are the lawsuits about? The lawsuits are about, okay, since you've now enacted this breakage policy, you need to go back and retroactively pay us artists.
Exactly, because they've already made millions upon millions of dollars already with that.
Exactly. And they continue to, because this is like, I just remind everyone.
The greed is real, people.
I know,
the greed
it really
is real.
It's so real. And the thing that I'm realizing that without these policies in place, there's no way for us as artists to know how much of that 144 million we're going to actually get, and whether we'll actually see it if you're signed to any of those three artists. And the other thing is really fishy.
Not artist labels. Signed to those three labels.
If you're an artist signed to one of those three labels, we're talking to you specifically. But this affects us because you don't think it's problematic that these three major labels own upwards of 20% stake in a company that's about to go public next year? Let's take a break. We're going to talk about this and much more on the Freedom Radio Hour. Where?
91.6 FM, the heartbeat of today.
Come back.
Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
What up, beautiful people, and welcome back to 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sedan, freedomradio.com, y'all. My name is Eddie Nicholas, and I'm here with my buddy, Mr.
Adam Cruz, and you're live and direct right here on the Freedom Radio Hour. We're your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. Breaking news right now. Let me just let you guys know what's happened. Before we broke, we were talking about Spotify. Spotify's basically paid out three major labels $144 million in the first 3 months of the year. But Spotify's been crying that this basically comprises of over 80% of their total revenue that they're paying out. So they're saying basically you're leaving us with 20% and it's not giving us the wiggle room to grow as a company so that we could help y'all and pay you out some more. But the breaking news right now is we have been noticing that news outlets have been talking a lot about Spotify between minimum guarantees, those are the agreements that are in place with these labels, and the policies that the labels have to instill to then pay this money out to artists. Well, and Spotify and all this complaining of how much that they have to pay out, we just noticed that Spotify, who's a Swedish company, they're based out of Sweden, they are looking at 350,000 square feet of space in New York City.
Where'd they get that money from?
Exactly. So that 20% or so, it's allowing them to live a little larger so that they could expand, you know? Quick history about what's happened with them. Spotify, based out of Sweden, like I said, has ran into a little trouble as they tried to expand. You see, they are very, very keen in becoming a public company, a publicly traded company. That's an IPO. They're going for that next year. So they're trying to find headquarters in the States. And how are they doing this? Well, we have this 20% or so that they're claiming that they have. But yet, what's happened is with Sweden, they ran into some politics because Sweden, like us in the U.S., are not very happy when companies outsource their jobs. So when...
Take a hint, America.
So when Sweden let it be known that they were quite upset with Spotify because they were essentially promising the United States, that they would start a whole headquarters out here, they had to deal with the Swedish government. So we're going to see what happens when they continue their plans to become a publicly traded company, but they are trying to find space in Chelsea, New York City, 350,000 square feet to be exact, where they're planning to entice top talent by giving them stock options. That's their plan. So they want to get top talent over at Spotify in the US, and they're going to attract you if you're that talent by offering you stock options and more.
Well, they need to do that anyway because, you know, I found our songs on Spotify. So our music is on Spotify. So when they start doing those little options, those of us who have our music on Spotify need to get those little memos.
Well,
Would
this
you
is
agree?
this. Yes, I could agree with all that. This is I think the biggest elephant in the room, though, is how
Even though being paid, how artists are still being
we don't know.
compensated.
So what are we talking here? We're talking about the lack of transparency.
Mhm.
We've also talked previously about companies that are starting to take root because they see an opportunity for business where they can offer a tracking system for artists to see where their royalties are going, public performance, mechanical rights, all of that in one dashboard, and they can pay themselves. So what's happening now is you start to see these companies sprout up around venture capital cycles where people come with a lot of money to invest in these type of companies. Another one has sprouted called Revelator, and what they're offering is, so far they've raised over $2.5 million, where they're trying to offer a similar thing, just like I said, an interface where for once now, if we were talking a Spotify situation and you're independent, you would get to know exactly where that money's going, how much is owed to you, and when. Whereas right now, at least when we're talking about these three major labels, the artists on those labels are left in the dark about how much of that 144 million they're going to get, or if they're going to get any at all. You see, the music business has had a long history of hiding and cooking the books to pay less and less out as they continue to build and add more muscle and leverage. But as we see now, in independent stores like Bandcamp and others, you as an artist could now do it on your own. You don't need those three major labels anymore. So it's going to be a very interesting thing. Like, let me ask you something. Wouldn't you want to sign up with a service where you could see at the minute whatever money is due to you? And not only that, they're making it possible so that you can make the money instantly. You see, the other problem with messing with labels is that you don't know when the money is going to come, even if you go by your contract sometimes. So how do you think about having instant access?
By the fact of having a Bandcamp.
Yes.
I already see the instant, and I'm seeing that as an artist, I'm getting the bulk of the money for my craft.
Right.
Now, how that bulk of the money that I'm getting from my craft is divided amongst the other people that participated in whatever arrangement we have made. It again depends, but with Bandcamp, and that's the one that I can speak of, when someone purchases your order, ching ching,
right away,
it automatically informs you.
Right.
And then when you're looking for how much that they're charging per song, you see that you're getting a better return. Right. And the money is right there, and you can automatically move it to where you go, like selling a CD on the street.
Exactly.
So you get immediate gratification with that.
Yeah.
Minus whatever their couple of dollars that they take out. But you do see a bulk of it. You are not getting 0.44 whatever percent of a penny.
Right.
You're getting a fraction. And like what, a 60-40 or something like that? Or
what for Bandcamp, they take 15%.
15%.
But because they use PayPal too dips in and takes a little something. But interesting enough.
And that's because of the transaction.
Yes. Well, Bandcamp now offers purchases via credit card and debit card. So now they're basically breaking out of the PayPal structure. They'll include that, but they're now offering different methods of payment, which I think is better to open it up. Not to say that those card companies won't take their cut as a transaction
They
fee.
all do.
But at least you as a consumer, as a person doing this, can see, PayPal might take more than, say, the cards or something
But let
like
me
that.
use my card.
Exactly. Let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this music business news and a lot more information we want to share with you in the coming episodes right here on the Freedom Radio Hour, where
91.6 FM, the heartbeat of the city.
Freedom Radio Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. We're live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM and on the web at dwopmusicradio.com. You're deep in the zone right here on the Freedom Radio Hour. We're your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. So what we want to talk about in this segment is the power of social media and the problems that happen when you try to create. There's a DJ recently that published an article that basically said that he was going to stop using his phone and stop using social media so that he could actually focus on working on his next album. So it sparked a debate about how much time artists are spending online and through social media, and whether that's actually curtailing creativity. So tonight, how are we going to break this down? We know in past episodes, we talked about the etiquette of social media use. And what we basically said was there's a balance of how much you should be posting on social media about your projects and about other people's projects. but how compelling you make it, and how you're able to create a persona for yourself online if you take the time to carefully craft that over time. Things to stay away from: don't overpost. Try to refrain from using all capital letters. Try to keep the content clean so that whether you're at work or at home, it's not a problem. And there are other rules to this. But in the age where we have more independent artists, arguably, than ever before, social media has become the go-to place for our promotions, and a lot of times artists like us use that as a primary source for letting and spreading the word about our new projects.
Information.
But the pitfall of that is that instead of spending the time creating the music, you're spending the time doing selfies, or you're posting about whatever you want to post about. So Eddie here, I want to talk to you about it because Eddie has really, to me, has struck a wonderful rhythm and pattern for posting content. He goes live, he's at concerts, he's posting about events that he hosts, or if he's in the studio, or even sometimes when we're here recording, he'll sometimes go live or post a picture that lets everybody know what he's up to. But is this taking away the time that you should be spending on working on music? In other words, the people that love you and love your music want you to come out with more music than ever before, not less. So do you think that you're sacrificing the creation of music in favor of social media use? Think about that.
Personally, I don't think so. I think with the usage of social media, once again, it's how one uses it. As we find, social media is a very powerful tool. And with this tool, we are able to tap into not only and share our lives, but we're able to tap into others. We're able to see a multitude of other people's opinion, because everybody has an opinion. So with that, people all the time want to share, and people always have a comment. My use of social media basically is to get people to know who I am as an artist, and as hopefully a humanitarian that does a lot of things in order to keep you informed on what's going on. A lot of times in my sharing information, it's not all about me. It's about the event, the cause, what's going on in my neighborhood, in your neighborhood, so people can have a catalyst to say, well, let's get out and let's go do that. Let's go visit the museum. I saw a clip here. Oh, let's go to this festival here. I saw a little clip here and it's sharing live and looks like something I would want to go and attend. And the important thing is to capture people in their forms, but again, like if I ran into you someplace, you being a producer or artist, a father, doing a social gathering, a DJ, if time permits, I want to get what you have to say, because somebody may tune in that is following you.
I agree. I feel like there is a moment where you can watch a clip or catch a friend doing something. All of a sudden, it reminds you that, oh, I should be either going out more, or perhaps let me check that event out next time, or what have you. I do, on the other side of the coin, though, want to talk about the elusiveness that used to be musicians and artists back in the day. There used to be a level of mystery around artists. You didn't get to know their private lives very much unless their name was rung through the mud by a, say, National Choir or something. But for the most part, you really didn't know the day-to-day activities of artists. And the more popular they became, it seemed like the less you kind of knew about them. You only sort of saw them as they appeared on stage or during their tours to perform. You very rarely got an inside peek. When you did, even you remember there was a time when you bought, say, a package when multimedia first started to come and be really popularized, that you could buy a package of a tour and then you'd get behind the scenes clips, but you had to buy this special package. It wasn't like today where it's all the time.
Now social media allows you to be able to share the experience.
Yes, but then are you not expressing your art enough because you're busy attending things or posting, for example? Like for me, I love your ability to record and release projects, and I would love to see that more and more. So there, and even for me and the people that I know that also create music, or even if you're just a citizen of the world, there is a comment here about how much time we spend posting on social media versus how much time, especially if you're a creative person, whether it's for film or whether you're in music or whatever it is, that you spend, creating that art so that you can continue perpetuating this. Let me give you some more insights into what I'm up to, because think about it. If you don't have something new that you're working on after a while, what do you really post it? You know what I mean? So the virtual, you attending new events is, I understand your thing. But if you're not, and you're really not doing much, you need to get with the doing more in real life before you post, right?
And again, I host, so
yes,
that's all part of what I do. And a lot of it has to do with, and that's a whole nother subject, reality TV.
Yes, and there's also this discussion about TV, real life versus what you're posting. Oftentimes on social media, we're not posting our bad days. We more often post the wonderful moments.
Now, with the advent of technology,
you think that's changing,
what do we change? It already is changing.
Well, do you think that I think by and large, though, we use social media to post positive things. Very rarely we get those few that post their drama.
You would hope, and you would hope that anything that is posted is something that will let people have a better day, a better frame of mind, seek out to do something that they want to do. When you post, you want to hopefully inspire. You want to share, but out of your sharing, and those people that are religious, out of their testimonies, you hope that you inspire people. So social media is a two-edged sword.
It is. And that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Freedom Radio Hour. Definitely check out EddieNicholas.com.
That's right.
He has You Left Me remixes out right now. Of course, One Time is also available. Check out your boy DJ AdamCruz.com for more of this fantastic music, as well as my LP, the Freedom Album, available everywhere, including Spotify.
Oh, that's right. We love you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Capital Radio 91.6
FM. The heartbeat of Sudan.
DWAMusicradio.com. See you next time. Peace.
That's right.